Thank you very much. I appreciate your taking time to join me today. Our country is facing a crisis. Americans have stopped saving. The personal savings rate is at an all-time low. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck and say they would struggle to pay a $400 emergency expense without borrowing money or selling something. The average American family has just $5,000 in retirement savings. Every year, Georgians spend $1 billion on lottery tickets and scratch-off cards, and many millions more playing slot machines and casinos in neighboring states. Many of these dollars are spent by Georgians who, like most Americans, are living paycheck to paycheck with no significant savings. Today, Save, Earn, Win Act, which authorizes banks and credit unions in Georgia to offer a new type of savings account, which I am calling the lottery savings account. For each incremental savings deposit, the depositor is entered into a drawing that pays a prize to the winner. It's an effort to use the thrill of a lottery prize to encourage savings. And when the depositor loses, as most will, instead of having a worthless lottery ticket or betting slip, they will have their savings deposits. We've modeled this idea after the lottery savings bond program in the United Kingdom, which was begun after the Second World War. In Great Britain, similar to our savings bonds, British lottery bonds, instead of receiving interest, the bondholders are entered into an annual lottery for each bond that is purchased. The lottery accounts authorized by the Save, Earn, Win Act could be interest-bearing or non-interest-bearing. It would be up to the financial institution to design a product that they believe would attract deposits. This bill alone obviously will not solve the problem of low savings rates, but it's a step in the right direction, we believe, toward encouraging Georgians to save more money. And I'm very pleased to be joined at this press conference today by a number of the bill's supporters, including Al Parker of Urban Asset Builders to my immediate right, Karen Anderson of Operation Hope, Angie Harbin of the Georgia Credit Union Affiliates, Terry Hardy, who is the CEO of Members First Credit Union, Lori Godfrey with the Community Bankers Association, Joe Brandon, Steve Bridges, and Elizabeth Chandler with the Georgia Bankers Association, and Ann Mintz and Mike Petrick of the United Way of Greater Atlanta. And any of us would be happy to answer any questions.
What do you think, by proposing this legislation, what difference will it make?
It's designed to give additional savings options and encourage people who are not saving money to save money. $1 billion worth of lottery tickets are sold each year. Many of those are purchased by people who have saved very little money or who may not be saving money at all. The idea behind the bill is to offer a financial product that gives the thrill of a possible lottery prize to a potential saver.
Do any other states or banks or financial institutions do something like this already?
The federal government has recently authorized banks to offer what they call savings raffle promotions, which is a different name for the idea proposed in this bill. And we're making this, we're proposing this legislation in order to make clear that our credit unions and banks can offer that product here in Georgia.
20 states already do it. Michigan was the first.
Could somebody from some of the banks or the credit unions talk about how this works in other states? What are payouts like? How much do people need to deposit to be eligible to win a prize? And why would banks do this? This doesn't sound profitable offhand.
Terry is the CEO of Members First Credit Union. I will say that my understanding is that in most states, you receive one entry into the lottery for each $25 that you deposit, although banks could design the products differently, but I'll let you speak to it.
We don't have any set guidelines yet as far as how we would offer it. We would wait until the legislation is authorized and approved and then make a decision about how we would structure the account. But as credit unions, we are all about helping people to afford life, saving more money, and that anything that has the intent of assisting consumers with increasing their savings rate is something that we're going to be all about. And we'll structure it in a way that would be beneficial to the consumers based on the legislation, of course.
On a similar point, can any of you talk about what the barrier is right now to get people to start a savings account or continually contribute to it? Like what's missing that this attempts to fix.
Maybe Joe or Karen who are with anti-poverty groups, maybe they could speak to what might motivate people to save.
I'm Joe Brandon with the Georgia Bankers Association. What's important about savings is that those deposits are recirculated in the communities in which those individuals who are saving live in the form of loans. So from our standpoint, encouraging people that may not be savers now, any way we can encourage them to save, not only helps them, it helps their communities by recycling those deposits in those communities. What is keeping them to do that is there are plenty of other things that they can spend their money on. Savings is usually the last thing most of us think about. This gives them a reason to think about saving, gives them the opportunity to win a prize, and I would hope that the prize would be something like $25, and that money, instead of pocketed or spent on candy corn, might be reinvested back in that savings account. So that's the intent, just to find a way give one more incentive for people to save that they may not have now. Just be aware of savings, and savings pays in this case.
Do you think the idea of savings has been lost in the last few years? I mean, all of us, well, I would say all of us, because a lot of younger folks in here than me, but we all grew up hearing, put some money away, put some money away, put some money away. Do you think that's been lost over time?
You and I both have the same color hair. When we grew up, we were told if you put $100 in at the end of your year, you'll probably have $105 or $110, and that in our day that was a lot of money. 5% rates have been historically low for decades now, and people are not thinking about savings from a return on that money. This sort of addresses that because there's an opportunity to actually get something there. But I think the whole focus of savings needs to change from earning something, but preparing for the future, having money set aside. Like the President Pro Tem said, most people can't afford a $400 emergency. This gives them the opportunities that they may not have otherwise.
If I could just, I'm Mike Petrick, United Way.
Could you step over here, Mike?
Sure. I'm Mike Petrick, Board Chair for the United Way, and if I could just amplify that a little bit. I think the data do suggest that Americans save inadequately and probably are saving somewhat less than they have in prior generations. Some of that is a wherewithal phenomenon. There are many families that really don't have enough to save, but not all of it. I mean, we all can see examples all the time of folks who have modest incomes, live next door to each other, but one family saves, another doesn't. So there's obviously other components. Saving is a form of financial delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is something that is normally not intuitive. It normally has to be taught, it's modeled. As we've seen a lot of strain put on American families over the last generation or two, that modeling has taken a hit. And I think it's up to institutions, government, nonprofits, and financial institutions to create programs and that kind of fill the breach, not perfectly, but helpfully nonetheless.
I'd like to comment on your statement. The statistics say right now that 60% of households have less than $1,000 saved up in the bank. That's the total population. So that indicates it's a widespread problem. And I think the thing that we can be proud of today is that the senator, the financial institutions, and the nonprofits are trying to come together to at least make or educate or do what we can to help those that are thinking about savings and to provide some additional resources so that they can save.
Do you have your name, sir? I'm sorry.
I'm Al Parker. I'm a representative of Urban Assets.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
And I would add, I'm Karen Anderson with Operation Hope. As part of our core programming, we have credit and money management. And what we see a lot, especially in underserved communities, it's a money mindset issue. It's about, as was mentioned, the delayed gratification, these are my current needs. So when we work with those individuals, it's to get them to rethink their approach to money. It's like a new story around money and financial management that they were not taught. We often say it's like a memo that they missed. So they were not educated on using money. How does this represent in your life? So that is a key part of our core programming, and this ties in very well with that because it lends to the emphasis that our financial well-being coaches place on budgeting and helping people to set goals around their finances.
So you think this would be an incentive? for those
Yes.
that-
So you believe this will attract people who do not normally save
Yes.
to begin saving money because of the thrill of the possible lottery prize?
And the pool of the winnings, this comes from each institution, or is there a statewide account, or?
I believe that's the way it's drafted. I had considered including legislation that would allow the institutions to collaborate with each other to create larger pools like the states do in the lottery to attract even more savings. But I don't believe the bill as introduced will include that component. But that's certainly something I'd be open to.
Would it be a monthly thing, or how would that bonus work, or are you still trying to work that out? What is the thought?
I mean, we would be trying to unleash the creativity of the banks and credit unions, giving them the freedom to design products that they believe will attract deposits. Obviously, they're not going to design products that they don't believe will encourage people to save. And so it's not a prescriptive remedy where we're imposing an idea from the General Assembly down on the banks and the financial institutions. We're just creating the regulatory freedom for this type of product to be offered. Any other questions?
Do you have a bill number?
We'll have it in the next hour. Any other questions? Well, thank you so much for joining us. Ines, will you take a picture of us around
Yes.
the check?
Yes, we will.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very, very much.